Hey you guys, welcome to another one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more latest news, and I'm going to be discussing with you a bit about Koulibaly today on this live video. So if you do consider, drop your comments and likes below, and as I said, do consider subscribe to the channel as always. But potentially my own perspective opinion, I would love Koulibaly at Manchester United because he's been very impressive for Napoli. He was very impressive in the Champions League yesterday, apart from getting squared off by Salah, with Salah's first goal, presumably Virgil van Dijk should have been sent off as well. Napoli, very good. Presumably Virgil van Dijk should have been sent off as well. Napoli, very good in Italy. They're no longer in the Champions League now, of course, but I thought Koulibaly played very well yesterday. Apart from Salah squaring him off, I thought he dealt well. Apart from that scene where Salah squared him off, I thought he dealt well with Salah and Firmino did Koulibaly because he is a great strong defender. Defensively, we do want to strengthen up, as Mourinho said. We need another attacker as well because we have got, and especially defensively, we have got a lot of injury problems defensively as well. And we are linked with quite a lot of players. Mourinho spent over £400 million. He's reportedly getting quite a lot of players. Mourinho spent over £400 million. He's reportedly getting £100 million spending spree. Well, that's what it said a while back. He was getting £100 million spending spree in the January transfer window. He's had discussions with Ed Woodward about January. They've come to an agreement, Ed Woodward, George Mendes and Mourinho. Reportedly now it's Alderweireld who's the main priority target, but I'd love Koulibaly at Manchester United. We know Napoli would want around £90 million for him, which would potentially make him the most expensive defender in the world. Manchester United is a very good, strong, physical defender, very good, strong, quick, very good in the air. His ability is very good. His passing ability is very good. Very good composed defender indeed, and I think it dramatically improves his defence because he's highly experienced defender. We need a highly experienced defender, and I think Koulibaly fit the agenda very well. I think he'd adapt every area of his game fantastically well. Koulibaly, if he was to come to Man United, he's never played in the Premier League, but he's a very good, strong, tall defender indeed. And reportedly, Man United have been in talks the other week. Man United had a bid turned down from 77 to £80 million for Koulibaly. Also his versatility is very good. You can put him at centre back. You can also put him as a full back position as well. But reportedly, Napoli would demand around £90 million. Financially, they would make a huge profit on the player because they only paid £7 million for him from Genk, as we all know. He's made 29 appearances for Senegal since making his international senior debut in 2015. I think he is around 27, 28 years of age, as well as Koulibaly, but reportedly Manchester United are heavily linked with him. Jose Mourinho said potentially he's been recently nominated African Football of the Year as well, but reportedly Jose Mourinho's not too confident. For Mourinho, he's too much of an extortionate price, but I think he's a very good centre-back. Man United are heavily linked with him. I'd love him to come to United. He's got that experience. He's never played in the Premier League, but I think he would dramatically, make a name for himself if he was to come and play in English football, Koulibaly. And he's a good, strong central defender, so potentially Manchester United are heavily linked with him. Would he be keen on coming to make the move to the Premier League? Napoli are not desperate for finances, but potentially £90 million is a lot of money. And the most expensive defender at the moment is Liverpool's 75 million Virgil van Dijk. But Liverpool playing very well. I think they're going to win on Sunday. They've got world-class players like Salah. I think he's potentially better than Hazard. I think Hazard's still very good, but I think Salah's better. De Bruyne, for me, De Bruyne, Salah and Hazard are the three best players in the Premier League without a doubt. We know De Bruyne hasn't played for a while. He's set to return. He's set to recover from well, but he's a great team player. He's Kevin De Bruyne, as I said. Eden Hazard's not much of a team player. He works very well. His finishing assets, he's very good. He's Eden Hazard, but you can put him in the middle. You can put him on the left as well. And Salah's pace is just unbelievable. The way he beats defenders, his link-up play is absolutely phenomenal as well. And it's just the cohesion of Liverpool's squad. It's as simple as that. And, they've got Mane, who's absolutely world-class as well. They've got Firmino. And I thought Koulibaly dealt with them yesterday, apart from, Liverpool's goal, apart from Koulibaly getting, a bit embarrassed by Salah for the first goal. But apart from that, I thought Koulibaly put a good, strong defensive display in for Napoli. And, it just shows he can perform very well. I think he'd suit the Premier League. I think he's a good candidate, and I think he'd give a fantastic name for himself in the Premier League. Would Koulibaly. So potentially Liverpool are doing well in the league. The top. They haven't lost yet. They're the only team that haven't lost. Have scored 34 goals, conceded 6. Klopp spent over 170 odd million pounds. So they were the biggest spenders in the last summer window, Liverpool. They were the biggest spenders. And Klopp spent about 400 million pounds, is it now, or just under, in 6 transfer windows with Liverpool. He's obviously sanctioned a lot off as well, so they have received quite a bit of money. I think he's got rid of 24, 25 players. He's got rid of 24, 25 players as Jurgen Klopp since he's been at Liverpool. Anyway, the Champions League draw will be coming up next Monday. It will be live on here. If it's not live whilst it's drawing, it will be. I'll give you the reaction of the draw as well. So I do know a lot of teams that have qualified. As I said, we got knocked out by Sevilla last year, as I said, and potentially we don't have to win the game tonight against Valencia because we're already qualified for the knockouts anyway, but we'd like to win anywhere. Valencia is sitting 15th in La Liga. We haven't lost to them since 1982 in the competition, as we all know, and they're particularly poor. We've only scored 1 goal in the Champions League. We haven't lost in his last 5 games, I don't think. But potentially, Mourinho going into the game has given us some key promises. As I said, Pogba is going to give Pogba the benefit of the doubt. He's going to see, he didn't play against Fulham, but he's going to see how he performs tonight, Paul Pogba. Then he may audition to play him against Liverpool. Pereira's also a key promise as well, so it'd be good to see him feature as well. Obviously, we know Lindelof's out. We know Sanchez is out for Man United. Sanchez is out till January. Lindelof's out till later this month. But he's given us key promises that Pogba and Pereira will be starting tonight for Man United. I hope Mourinho puts Doyle there as well, because Doyle put a fantastic performance in against Fulham. Physically very, very strong, technically very, very good, and he is only 19 years of age, and I think potentially he were very, very good at that right-back position against Fulham. We haven't seen a potential great right-back since like that since the Gary Neville days, and potentially something like that. But potentially, I hope that gets a chance. Jose Mourinho will be rotating the squad a little bit tonight. We know Bailey, I think's a doubt. There's speculation over his future at United. So too is Smalling, he's out. Luke Shaw's a doubt as well. So I presumably think Mourinho could go with Phil Jones and Rojo as a centre-back partnership and probably put Young and Doyle on each flank at the full-back position. But yeah, so if Juventus don't win tonight and we win, we top the group anywhere. It's going to be interesting to see if we get in the draw. It's been going since 1955, the Champions League. It's been 27 years now since it's been named the UEFA Champions League. And there's a lot of competitive, teams in it. As I said, I think minimum for Liverpool and Manchester City is the quarter-final because they're both very, very good sides. We're both good players. Pep Guardiola spent a lot on his Manchester City team. He spent £1 billion in all his managerial careers. Pep Guardiola won 24 trophies, broken records. And, potentially, I think it'll be them. Minimum for their target, minimum for City and Liverpool is to get the quarterfinals of the Champions League. There's a lot of good teams in it. As I said, a total of 22 teams have won it. Real Madrid have won it in the last 3 years. I think, last season Real Madrid won it 3-1 against Liverpool. I think that it was 2 of the errors were from the Liverpool goalkeeper last year. But potentially they were playing quite well. But Salah came off in that game, and then without Salah, it potentially changed Liverpool as a team. They lacked confidence when Salah came off, and that's when Real Madrid had won the game. Real Madrid won the game, as I said. And Real Madrid have won it in the last 3 years. The record holders, they've won it 13 times. Manchester United have won it 3. We haven't won it since 2008. Bayern Munich have won it quite a few times. Juventus have become the most runners-up in the Champions League, as I said. You've got Chelsea that have won it once. Liverpool have won it 5 times, as I said. And it's a great, great competition. I can't see Manchester United competing in the Champions League, to be quite honest with you. Well, it depends, who Mourinho gets in the January transfer window. But I can't really see us competing. As I said, you've got potentially PSG are in the knockouts. As I said, can't really see them doing out because their league's like a pub league anywhere. They have invested a lot of money. They have got a good squad of PSG, but I don't think they'll be competing in the Champions League. I don't think they'll win it. I don't think Real Madrid will win it because potentially now they've no longer got Zinedine Zidane as manager. He's set to return back to management soon, as I said, but they've no longer got Zinedine Zidane as manager, and also they've lost Ronaldo. They're looking to get a few other players in Real Madrid. They're known for buying Premier League players because they've bought 23 since 2000. I think Juventus have got a chance of winning it because obviously they're into knockouts, the top of the group at the moment. I think Juventus have got a chance. They've got a great, great squad. They've got Ronaldo. Paulo Dybala's a world-class striker, in my opinion. Mandzukic, Khedira, Chiellini. Juventus, Khedira, as I said, Juventus have got a great, great squad. were historically fantastic in Italy. They almost win the Serie A every year, don't they, Juventus? But they have been very, very competitive in the Champions League, but they've lost 7. They've come runners up 7 times, so they have potentially lost 7 finals. At Juventus, so I think they've got a chance. City have got a chance because they've got a really, really good squad, and they are the best team still in English football, in my opinion. I think Liverpool have got a chance with players they've got in their squad. But there's quite a lot of decent teams going into the knockouts, as I said, and for my active Manchester United fan, we won't be able to compete with any of them big opponents in the competition. I think maximum the farthest I think Manchester United will get is probably the quarter final, and that's if we do get a low opposition in the Champions League draw for the knockouts. If we get one of the big oppositions, I just can't see Manchester United doing out against the big oppositions because we haven't really performed that well this season. Lacking goals, conceding too many goals. As I said, goal difference is terrible this season. Especially in the Premier League. Potentially we've only got the FA Cup to go for, in my opinion. Because Champions League, we're not going to do out in the Champions League, I don't think. So essentially, it's only FA Cup now because we're not in the League Cup. We lost to Derby early on in the season, 8-7 on penalties. So potentially, yes. So saying, obviously, an Arsenal and Chelsea are not in the Champions League this year. They're in the Europa League, but I can potentially laugh at that. But I think we're going to be in the same position next season because I am not convinced that Manchester United are going to get top 4 this season. Jose Mourinho did say a couple of weeks ago that potentially he thought we were going to get. He wanted us to get top 4 by the end of the year, but he also mentioned that he said we almost need a miracle. He says he doesn't remember himself saying it. Then he said we don't need a miracle. He says we need a good run of games. Potentially, I think it's not impossible particularly, but I think it's doubtful that we're going to get top 4 potentially because teams above us are not going to drop points. As I said, but Koulibaly would be a fantastic signing. If we did sign him and it was 90 million, it'd take our spending spree to about 490, 500 million pounds or something like that under Mourinho, because obviously Mourinho's got 11 players in. I'd love Koulibaly. Mourinho thinks he's too expensive, but he's a great defender. He's highly experienced in Italy. His performances for Napoli have been absolutely fantastic. He's a very, very good, tenacious defender. He's quick on the ball. He's fast. He's quite tall as well. And he's a strong, solid defender. And that's what we're potentially needing at Manchester United squad because we have got problems defensively. Lindelof's improved this season, but obviously he's injured, so he can't play for quite a bit. But he's improved this season, to be fair. I don't know. But yeah, Koulibaly, very, very good defender indeed, and I'd like him at Manchester United. But we could see a few players go as well. Mourinho has been having discussions with Romelu Lukaku, due to his bad recent form. Lukaku's owned up to it, and he said he needs to get better. He does need to improve. Does Romelu Lukaku on his game? In his first season, he scored 27 goals, and he is potentially Premier League proven. He's Romelu Lukaku. As I said, he struggled in his first season with Chelsea. Went out on loan, I think. He scored 45 goals for Belgium. He's been playing senior football since the age of 16, and he is well Premier League proven, he's Lukaku, but everyone has concerns about his first touch, the way he reads his game, and he's a big game bottler as well, and he doesn't have much tempo to his play, and his weight as well does concern me a bit. People have been discussing about that, by the way, but Lukaku, hopefully he can try and somehow get his form back, as I said, but he has been having discussions with Mourinho. Mourinho's explained about his poor form, and Mourinho is trustworthy in Lukaku. He has trustworthy. He only says he discussed with players who Mourinho thinks can improve, and he has done this with Romelu Lukaku, as he currently said. But as I said, we've got a lot of players coming to end the deals as well. But I think potentially we do need another attacker in there. We do need a prolific goal scorer because Sanchez isn't delivering the goods. We know he's injured till January, but he hasn't proven himself since coming to United. Lukaku isn't in great form. And we do need a highly experienced, prolific goal scorer as a backup option, attackively, as we're all currently aware of as well. But we've got Valencia and Ashley Young, who are now 33 years of age. Potentially Ashley Young had a great game against Fulham. It's our biggest win of the season is Fulham. Potentially 4-1. Ashley Young put a good performance in at left back. He mainly plays at right back, mainly when Mourinho selects him. But Ashley Young, he's 33. Man United have been in talks about signing him another 1-year deal. He has been here since 2011 when we got him from Aston Villa. So too Antonio Valencia has been here since 2009. So Ashley Young and Valencia have experienced the good times at United because there was a year under the Fergie era, as I said. But Antonio Valencia, Man United have reportedly been in talks of securing him another 1-year deal as well. But now he's 33. He had injury problems, early on in the season with a mouth injury that he currently had, Antonio Valencia. But he is 33 now. But Ashley Young and Valencia will be coming to the end of their careers, soon, maybe in a year's or two's time. As I said, so Man United have been in talks of securing them new deals. As I said. And potentially, yeah. So Man United are linked, with a lot of players, over £400 million being spent. Potentially it hasn't been the same since Alex Ferguson left, as I said. We know there's been rumours of Jose Mourinho going. The board and the owners have been focusing on recommending the right man for the job. And reportedly, George Mendes' statement, he never really publicly speaks about Mourinho. He said he's happy at the club, he's fully committed to the club, and the club are happy with him. But Jose Mourinho is adamant that he had naught to do with the statement. He doesn't care about George Mendes' statement, just Jose Mourinho, because potentially George Mendes doesn't have a great relationship with Manchester United anywhere, as we all currently know. But Mourinho, we haven't been aggressive enough in these transfer windows, especially since Mourinho's come. We've been starting a lot of potential priority targets. We've been getting like our second, third choice targets instead of our top targets, as we did, especially in Mourinho's first season at the club. And potentially, yeah. So potentially we're going to have to see who we can get in January. Mourinho said quite a few weeks ago he wasn't convinced we was going to get any Glasgow signings, probably because the position we're in. Obviously, a top player wouldn't want to come to this team at the moment in time because this team's got a lot of problems. Obviously, we're sitting sixth in the league, and potentially is not good enough, as I currently said. But we've also potentially being linked with Milan Skriniar, as we all know. Milan Skriniar's been mentioned. He's a good player. He's 23 years of age. He's Milan Skriniar, reportedly. He's an Inter Milan player. Inter Milan are under financial fair play regulations, so looking to sanction quite a few of their players off to invest some money into the club. I don't think they can officially buy players till next summer, but they can agree to buy players in January. In Inter Milan, they've got a new director called Beppe Marotta, as we all currently know. Milan Skriniar, a few teams have been interested in him. He can play as a centre-back and a defensive midfield as well. I think Man United are in search for a good defensive midfielder because, Matic and Fellaini, just not because they're terrible. Matic and Fellaini are terrible. Matic is terrible. I said when we bought Matic, I had concerns about him. I thought when I had trustworthy Mourinho, that time we signed Matic, I thought Matic, he's not the best signing, he's not a crap player, but he's not a great player. But I think Mourinho, with the brilliance of Mourinho, he could potentially improve him. That's when, when I did that video about Matic, when we, completed the signing of him, but he has struggled this season. He was good against us, but Mourinho won't drop him. And a lot of United fans want to see Matic drop because he's static. There's no tempo to his play. He's tall, just like Fellaini. He's static and has no tempo to his play at all, as we all know. But Pogba in that midfield makes a huge difference, even though he doesn't perform well in all of his games, Paul Pogba. But you can see the balance of play is different, when you take Paul Pogba out of the midfield as well. Potentially when we beat Fulham 4-1, people saying, do we look better without Paul Pogba? No, we don't, because it was only got the worst goal difference in the league. They're sitting bottom of the league, and Fulham are rubbish. So that's the only reason we won that game, because Fulham are rubbish. So yeah, you can tell the difference in that midfield without Paul Pogba in it. Pogba, for me, in that midfield, when he's potentially on form, is like two mans in one, in my potential opinion. But Matic, as I said, I don't really highly rate him. He's been poor this season. I want to say not. For me, Mourinho needs to give Fred more of the game time, but he's already confirmed, Jose Mourinho, that Fred will be getting more game time when we're stronger defensively and when the team's better balanced. Mourinho had actually confirmed this the other day. That's when Fred will be getting more game time. Mourinho paid £52 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk last summer, and he hasn't been getting the game time that he currently wants at Man United. But for me, we know Mourinho's had disputes with the top players since he's come. We know he's got a very, very good pedigree, and people are still backing him because of the success he's achieved in the past. But now he's aging up. He's arrogant, he's Mourinho, but he hasn't met the expectations at Manchester United. He hasn't got us back, he hasn't got us, competing and challenging for major honours as Jose Mourinho, potentially, as he should have done. People question about his team selection and his tactics. For me, Mourinho doesn't potentially know his best starting 11, but mentioning Koulibaly, I'd love him as a strong central defender. We've had great central defenders over the years. Ferdinand Vidic, absolutely fantastic centre-back partnership when they were at the club under the Alex Ferguson era. Midfield, when we had Scholes and Michael Carrick as a midfield, that was a great central midfield partnership as well. We had Scholes and Michael Carrick, great legends at Manchester United. And potentially, I just want us to get a strong central defender in. We could simply defenders depart. Bale hasn't been getting the game time this season. He has. He played obviously against Fulham and he played obviously against Arsenal and that Bale. But he's been out of favour under Jose Mourinho, and there's still speculation over his future. His future's uncertain. Eric Bailey's, Marcus Rojo as well. He's been featuring, quite lately as well. Darmian, I think he could potentially go. There's a few Italian teams interested in him as well. But Mourinho has won 3 trophies since he's come to the club, potentially. So I do credit him for that. I credit him for getting us to the FA Cup final last season in a game that potentially we didn't turn up in the FA Cup final last year. But as I say about Milan Skriniar, as I said, he's an Inter Milan centre-back. Man United have been interested in him. A few teams been interested in him. I think he's got 4 years left on his deal with Inter Milan. He's got 4 years left on his deal with Inter Milan. And he's 23 years of age. Looks a pretty good, decent defender for Inter Milan. Inter Milan paid £20 million for him from Sampdoria. But reportedly Manchester United have been interested in him as well. He's Slovakian. He's the most expensive Slovakian player of all time. He's Milan Skriniar. Reportedly Manchester United have been interested in him as well. Toby Alderweireld reportedly is Manchester United's priority target now to go on and get in the January transfer window, reportedly. Toby Alderweireld, I said he has some reservations about him, but I said he's a highly experienced defender. He's how old is he? He's 28, 29 years of age. Obviously, he plays pretty well under Pochettino. Tottenham have only spent £50 million since 2014, as we all know. And Toby Alderweireld, some parts of his game's good, some parts of his game isn't. You can put him at centre-back, you can put him as a full-back as well, and he's proven in the Premier League. He's Toby Alderweireld, as we all know. Of course, he's an ex-Southampton, he's an ex-Atletico Madrid, and he's an ex-Ajax player, where he'd risen up the youth system with Ajax as well. Mourinho's confident of getting a £40 million deal over the line, so Man United will prepare to have discussions with Tottenham over this, like we did last summer. But would have had discussions with Tottenham last summer, but Tottenham were demanding in the region of around £60 million. Man United were reluctant to pay up to £60 million for Alderweireld. That's a bit too much for Alderweireld, but as I said, we know he's available for £25 million next summer. It's Toby Alderweireld, and Mourinho has questioned of how ruthless Tottenham are, to sanction their best players off, because Tottenham have got a great, squad. They've got a lot of youngsters in that squad, Tottenham. And they've got a great squad of Tottenham Hotspur, as I said, but they haven't spent much since 2014 of Tottenham Hotspur. But reportedly, Man United have been linked with Toby Alderweireld, and we have been linked for him for quite a long time as well. But reportedly, he's Manchester United's now main priority target, Toby Alderweireld, as we all know. But yeah, great player. Toby Alderweireld is Premier League proven, but I would definitely prefer Koulibaly over Toby Alderweireld. I know he's going to cost us a lot more money than Toby Alderweireld is, but it would be the most expensive defender. But it's depending if Napoli are willing to do any business. I think Man United he's already been clarified that Man United have got to pay at least £90 million to get any chance of getting the pursuit of Koulibaly. He's a great strong central defender. Fantastic, and I think he'd suit the Premier League, to be quite honest with you. I think he'd suit the Premier League level. He's proven himself fantastically well with Napoli. He's an ex-Genk player. Napoli financially would profit from this by a huge profit, because they only paid £7 million for him from Genk, as I said, and he's under contract to 2023 with Napoli, as we all know. But great player, great player. As I said, apart from him getting embarrassed, yesterday in the Liverpool clash. Also, but Napoli know they're out of the Champions League now, so potentially they'll just have to focus on in the Serie A in their current league. As he said, I don't really know much about Napoli. I know they've got Dries Mertens, I think, and he's a player I've always potentially liked because I've watched him, how good he is as well. So potentially, yeah, and potentially there's been rumours that Man United have been interested in a few midfielders. As I keep updating you about that Tanguy and Ndombele, Lyon player, 21 years of age, midfielder. As I said, supposed to be very, very, very good, competitive and very tenacious, this Lyon midfielder. He's been in the senior team quite a few years now. He's only 21 years of age. This is first season permanently with Lyon. Lyon obviously signed him on a 1-year loan deal, was it? For like 2 million, they had to pay for this. And then potentially earlier this year, they signed him permanently for like £7.2 million. They signed him for Maymen's, I think. And he's just recently been, he recently made his senior debut for France this year, back in October. Did the player as well. Reportedly, Lyon recommend that they're on around £90 million for the player, which is a lot of money. That's a staggering amount of money for a young player like him. But reportedly, his performances for Lyon have been very, very good. I think he's a midfielder. You know, I like some of the Lyon players are good. I like Nabil Fekir at Lyon. You know, there's a few teams that have expressed an interest in him as well. Nabil Fekir, I do like him. He's a very, very good player, Nabil Fekir. You know, he's actually risen up the ranks with Lyon. He's been in the senior squad with Lyon since like 2013, and he can score goals. Since then he's made over 150 appearances, scored over 50 goals. Since his senior debut, Nabil Fekir's, and I really, really like him as well, Nabil Fekir. But potentially, yeah, reportedly they'd recommend they want £90 million for Tanguy and Ndombele. They'd want 90 million. That's a lot of money. A few teams have been monitoring and interested in him. City have been interested in him, and he's a good youngster as well. And potentially, it would be more beneficial if Man United did like get a youngish midfielder in, you know, to try and grow and develop and adapt more in the Manchester United squad. We wouldn't want, yeah, I'm not really bothered as long as we get a good midfielder in, because I think we're in desperate need anywhere for the midfielder, and especially a defensive midfielder as well. But Tanguy and Dembele, what I've seen of his statistics, you know, he doesn't look a bad player at all. So Barcelona, Tottenham, Man City, Everton, and that have been monitoring and interested in, and Ndombele as well. And he seems a very, very good player. What I've read of him and that doesn't seem too bad, but reportedly Man United have been linked with him as well. But the main one I want that Mourinho's linked with, Koulibaly, because I really highly rate the player. When I said to you I don't know much about him, I've been watching him recently, and he looks a very, very good, strong central defender. Watched the Liverpool game yesterday, and his cooperation against, you know, his cooperation and, you know, the way he played defensively yesterday, up against Salah and Firmino. I thought he stood his defensive ground fantastically well. And he really, really did, apart from getting him back from Salah's goal when he got squared off. But apart from that, I thought he did a great, great job for Napoli, defensively as well. There were talks Virgil van Dijk should have been sent off in that game. But no, Liverpool played well, played very well. Napoli came into the game, you know, they had chances of their own as well. You know, it was a great save towards the end. Was it the end? Alisson had made an absolutely superb save in stoppage time to deny a Napoli player. I can't remember who it was. Potentially, he got the rebound in, but I think that was given as offside or whatever. Something happened. But Napoli were unlucky then. But they're out of the Champions League now. Obviously, and Manchester United are in the Champions League, as we all know. But Koulibaly is a great, great central defender, and you know I am a big fan of the player, so we'll see what happens about that as well. Potentially though, midfield, you know, there's been rumours going on about the Mesut Ozil situation, as I do keep updating you. Obviously Mesut Ozil, reportedly the bookies have favoured Manchester United to go on and sign him. Reportedly, so Man United are back in for Mesut Ozil. We were linked to him last year. Obviously, we were linked to him last year, but we didn't get a deal online for him, and he didn't come because potentially Ozil signed a new contract worth £350,000 a week with Arsenal. So we didn't get him. There were a few teams interested in him, but you know, Arsenal may be considering selling him in January because potentially he hasn't really adapted himself or proven himself since Unai Emery has taken over as management. I think, to be fair, recently anyway, it's recently because in the early parts of the season, I thought Ozil was playing very, very well until he went out of form a bit, and then he picked up a bad injury. He's missed Arsenal's last quite few games, hasn't he? Mesut Ozil with a back injury, but Arsenal, from Arsenal's perspective, you know, they're still not. He's an essential player for Arsenal. But reportedly, the books have favoured Man United to go get him. He's well Premier League proven. He has a great relationship with Mourinho. You know, obviously they're keen on reuniting with each other. Mourinho loves him. He loves Mourinho, as I all know. And he's achieved a lot in his playing career so far, Mesut Ozil. He's 30 years old now. You know, he's won a lot of individual awards. He's won, you know, loads of silverware with Arsenal. He's won silverware with Arsenal. Of course, Mesut Ozil. He's never won the Premier League. But potentially, you know, he won on as well when he was in Madrid. He won on as when he was at Bremen. And he also he began his career with Schalke, where he visited up the youth system with Schalke as well. Mesut Ozil, but he's a great midfielder, great playmaker, good in the air. Can be a bit static at times, kind of be a bit lazy, but I think he's technically good on the ball. You could put him out wide as well if you wanted Mesut Ozil, but potentially some Man United fans would want him. Some Man United fans won't be particularly bothered about Ozil coming to United. But reportedly the bookers have favoured Man United to go get Mesut Ozil. Reportedly now, obviously he's got a new contract. If Arsenal are willing to sell him, they will be demanding a fee in the January window. Reportedly, it said Inter Milan have been interested in him as well. Reportedly, Ozil's current representatives are due to have discussions with Inter Milan. Reportedly, about him potentially making a move to Inter Milan. But he's well Premier League proven as Ozil. He's made a great name for himself in the Premier League. It was good with Arsene Wenger, for 4 or 5 years. And now, obviously, Emery's come in. He had a great start to the season with Emery Ozil. And now, potentially, he's becoming a bit of a flop, due to that he hasn't been in great form. And he's obviously suffered an injury as well. That's potentially affected him as well. But Arsenal still know how much of a central player he is. Obviously, Arsenal know Welbeck's going at the end of the season because he's out for the season. They know Aaron Ramsey's going. He's out. Aaron Ramsey's going as well, potentially at the end of the season because Arsenal blatantly told him he isn't getting a new contract. So Aaron Ramsey's going as well. But they do look a much better team under Emery. Good pedigree, as I said. And, 21 games undefeated are Arsenal, as we all currently know. So potentially there's been talks about Ozil potentially coming to Manchester United as well. So there has been potential talks about that as well. But the Paul Pogba situation, his future's still a debate. I don't know what's going to be happening with Paul Pogba, to be quite honest with you. Mourinho's given the benefit of the doubt tonight. Also to confirm, 2 17-year-olds have come on the trip. Mason Greenwood, who's done very, very well for the reserve team, and James Garner as well. He's coming on the trip tonight to Valencia, which is very, very good. That has been confirmed as well, so that's good news. And yeah, so that's been confirmed. All else to say? Let me think if there's all else to tell you. But potentially, yeah, as I said, we've got a lot of players, coming to the end of the deals, as I do keep saying. And potentially Juan Mata, as I said, he hasn't been a regular this season under Mourinho. Reportedly Madrid are interested in him. As I keep saying to you guys, Real Madrid are known for buying Premier League players. But reportedly, I think he maybe would go back to Real Madrid. Man United have been in talks of securing him a new deal. There hasn't been no signs yet that Man United can secure Mata a new deal. He is well Premier League proven, very, very consistent, very, very good, physically very, very good. And I think he's a great composed midfielder, is Man Mata. You can put him on the right, you can put him in the reportedly Real Madrid are interested in him, reportedly, because obviously he used to play for Real Madrid as a youngster. He played for Real Madrid Castilla, worked to Emery in the past, with Valencia, where he made 174 appearances. For 4 years he was at Valencia, working under Emery. And with Chelsea, he did very, very well. His 3-year period there. He's never won the Premier League, Juan Mata, but he's won the other honours, apart from the Premier League, of course, is Juan Mata. But I want to keep Juan Mata. He's a very, very good, consistent player, but he hasn't been a regular this season under Jose Mourinho. Proved his point very, very well against Fulham at the weekend, scoring his 50th Premier League, scoring his 50th English top flight goal, and providing his 50th assist. But do you think he will be starting tonight against Valencia? I think he will, because he is versing his old team. He's Juan Mata tonight, as I said. But as I said, yeah. So So there's a few teams, there's a few targets that Manchester United are interested in getting. It's not long now till the January transfer window opens. As I currently said, you got last summer Fulham spending 100 million. They shouldn't be in the position they're in. They spent 100 million on 12 players. West Ham spent 90 odd million pounds on 10 additional players. Chelsea spent 128 million pounds as well. They were the second highest spenders in the last summer window, just behind Liverpool. Liverpool were top with 170 odd million pounds spent. Arsenal got 5 players for 70 odd million pounds. Wolves spent quite a bit of money as well. So there was a lot of money spent in the last summer window from teams, and potentially January. I always look forward to the January transfer window, see what players come in and see what players go. And I think some of these players in this United team could go, and I think we can get some in as well who we want, and hopefully in January, because we haven't been getting our number one priority targets often, especially under Mourinho, and potentially hopefully January we can get the main targets that we want to get in. Mourinho's reportedly is Toby Alderweireld. I like Toby Alderweireld, but I do want Koulibaly. And if Man United are prepared to pay £90 million, then I'd like Koulibaly to come to Old Trafford. It would be great for him to come and experience his facility, play amongst different players, and I think he'd cooperate fantastically well because every aspect of his game is very, very good. He adapts every area. He adapts of every area of his game as well. So I'd love him. I'd love him. But great performance he put out yesterday in the Champions League. Great solid performance that he put out defensively. And I think he can address the defensive issues. United definitely address the defensive issues, as he said. And I hope he does. But last season, defensively we looked better last season. We scored more goals. We got more victories. We got second last season. But this season, it's not a good season at all. It's the worst season I've known us out for that absolutely is. But hopefully the last 2 performances we can build on that and put confidence into tonight's game, give us a bit of confidence going into the game on Sunday. And I tell you what, Liverpool's going to be a very, very tough game. Very, very tough game, as I said. But Mourinho can't go in there lacking confidence. The team can't go in there lacking confidence. We've got to go out there attackingly because we can't park the bus and play defensive against Liverpool like we did last season, potentially. The last 2 visits in the league to Anfield have been 0-0, so they have been dull games. But as I did keep telling you, we have got a good record against Liverpool. 23 meetings, last 23 meetings in all competitions. United won 12, Liverpool won 6, and there's been 5 draws between the sides. So potentially, we beat them 4 times under Louis van Gaal. Liverpool, we beat them 4 times in the Premier League under Louis van Gaal. We beat them under Moyes in the League Cup 1-0. We lost them in the league twice under Moyes, but potentially under Louis van Gaal, we beat them 4 times. Potentially haven't got a pretty bad record at Anfield. Recently we've had a couple of victories at Anfield, as I said. We beat them under Alex Ferguson away quite a lot of times as well, Liverpool. Obviously it's a big fixture, 2 more successful clubs historically in English football. It's always a big game. Obviously we're not competing this season. Liverpool are up there definitely competing, the top of the league, and I think they've got a great chance of winning the Premier League. They've literally never ever won the Premier League, but I think this season Liverpool have got a great chance, in my own opinion, of winning the Premier League this season because they've got the team, they're defensively looking very, very good. They've got world-class players in that squad. Salah is the best one, potentially. So, in reality, that's what you've got to accept, guys. But with Paul Pogba's situation, we know he's had disputes with Mourinho. Whether he stays or whether he goes or not, I don't know. There's been talks about him going back to Juventus. He hasn't really proven himself in English football. He is still our most central midfielder because he can perform well sometimes on the day. He cost us £89 million. So we'll see how he develops against Valencia tonight because Mourinho wants him to lead the way. He's going to get the chance against Liverpool if it reportedly, according to Mourinho, if he steps up tonight and impresses Mourinho and puts a good performance out tonight, then I think he may be started against Liverpool on Sunday. Paul Pogba, I think potentially we've got to start Pogba on Sunday anywhere, potentially in that midfield because you can look how weak our midfield looks without Paul Pogba in it. Pogba when he's on form, and especially anywhere, he's like 2 midfielders in one. when he's in that midfield and when he's potentially in good form as well. So it's important we have Pogba in that midfield for Sunday, because look how static that midfield is without Paul Pogba in it. You know, with Matic and Fellaini, is not good enough, and we're at least a couple of years off the league yet. But potentially signings could make a difference if we get the players we want in January. Signings could make the difference, but I still have no trustworthy Mourinho that he can push us forward potentially, because he doesn't know his best 11. His team selections are wrong, his tactics are wrong, as we all know. So we'll have to just see what happens, as I said, guys. So Koulibaly, I'd love him at United. He's a great central defender. He's strong. He's physically, technically very good. And he's a highly experienced defender. And I think if he came to Manchester United, he'd be fantastic. He's proven the point well at Napoli. He's been at Napoli now. Is this his 4th or 5th season now with Napoli? Great player. And what a performance he put out yesterday in the Champions League. Apart from obviously getting embarrassed for Liverpool's first goal, but apart from that, I thought he put a great defensive display in. And you know, he could be a key difference in our defence of us. You know, not conceding as much goals and just looking better defensively. As I said, so because we are weak at the back, we have got injuries. Let's be honest, we have got injuries at the back, but somehow that can be addressed in the January transfer window as well. But if Man United are prepared to pay 90 million, there's always a chance we could get him. If Man United aren't prepared to pay 90 million pounds, as Mourinho's not confident, we're not going to get him obviously then anyway. So potentially we'd have to fork a lot of money out to get a player of his calibre. So we'll have to see what happens. So anyway, everything's updated today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe to my channel, as always, and take care. God bless, guys, and I'll see you all again very soon, guys. Bye.